Hi, my name's Lauren. I'm a ceramicist and artist based in Portland, Oregon, and I moved into a new studio last month. It was not expected. I had been in my last studio for less than a year, and I'll link the video at the end of this video of the little studio tour I did in my last space. But I was in there for less than a year, and I was not looking to move. And then I had a friend reach out to me about this space. She has a studio in this building, and she was looking to get a second space just to expand a little bit, use it for kind of like storage almost, and then maybe put some equipment in here that she can't fit into her current space. So, like an extruder, maybe a kiln. She's also a ceramicist. And so she offered to share it with me since she wasn't going to be working in this space, but using it more to like store materials and equipment. And I obviously said yes because I'm here. But it's great. It's significantly bigger than my last space. My last studio was 130 square feet, and this studio is 375. It's also cheaper. It's almost the same price as the old space I was in, but since I'm splitting it with somebody, it's almost half of what I was paying before. And it's in a completely different building, and it just feels more like a community space a little bit than my previous building. I feel like nobody knew each other in the previous building, and in here it's just like more of a community vibe, which is really nice. So let's take a little look around, and I'll just do like a quick little studio tour for today's video. I did actually film like a whole moving vlog. I filmed like looking at the space when it was totally empty, cleaning it, painting this wall behind me. And then I never edited it because I thought editing it was going to be really boring. I didn't want to edit myself, and I was like, who's going to want to watch this? No one wants to watch me like mop the floors. It was not a very exciting like before and after of the cleaning, at least. So I just didn't feel like editing it, and so I didn't. So we're just doing a tour instead. So on this half of my table, this half of this wall, I have all of my inventory here, and then shipping supplies at the bottom down there, and then miscellany. And then this, I have this little IKEA box that just has like envelopes and stamps and tape and other like shipping related things, thank you cards, stuff like that. This half of the space is a lot more exciting and pretty to look at. It's all of my painting and like other not pottery related art supplies. I am really bad at maintaining a sketchbook practice and a art practice outside of pottery. I just have a really hard time prioritizing those two mediums and those two parts of my practice. And I have not been able to treat painting and sketchbooking as an integral part of my overall art practice. I still kind of treat it as like an extracurricular kind of hobby that I feel like I never have time for. So I'm hoping that by having all of these supplies in this new studio, I have the space for it now. I used to keep it at home, but I'm hoping that having it all here together gives me more time to work on it, and like I can work it into my schedule a little bit easier. So we'll see. I'm preparing for a big market right now, so I haven't had time to touch any of this since moving in. So hopefully I can change that in the future and find kind of a balance in my studio schedule to like incorporate a little bit more painting into my practice. But it is nice having them all here and accessible. Here I have all of my colored pencils and markers, and I've kind of separated them by color a little bit, which I find very satisfying. I have a ton of art books, which I always have the best intentions when I buy them, of like sitting down and flipping through them, working in my sketchbook, or using them as inspiration or references. But like I said, I'm really bad at keeping a sketchbook practice. So let me know if you would be interested in seeing more of my art books, or maybe some videos like I don't know, flipping through them or sketching from them. I don't know. Let me know. And in this corner, we have my slab roller and a bunch of clay. Not a lot. I need more. But I'm also considering moving the slab roller along this wall here because my studio mate is thinking of getting an extruder, and I think that would be best on this wall. And in this corner here is where we would put a kiln if we got one, and lots of shelves all along this wall, which is great. I never had enough shelving at my last studio space. It was so small. So yeah, it's so nice to have all of these extra shelving, and I'm already filling them up with lots of mugs. And even more shelving on this side. I have all my underglazes here, plus just all of my tools and stencils, stamps, pottery, miscellaneous material. These are some of the molds that my studio mate brought in to store in here. And then in this cabinet is where I keep all of my glaze materials, like raw materials for mixing my glaze, tongs for dipping, stuff like that. And then in the middle, I have this really big, nice table that I actually got for free from somebody who was moving out of this building. It was really heavy to move it, but I was very happy to have it. It's like 8 feet long, so it's great as a work table. It's shorter than I would like. I usually like things to be at like standing desk height, but it was free. And it's been pretty nice. So, and then underneath it, I have like scrap buckets for clay scraps. And I keep my glaze bucket underneath. On the opposite side of the table, I have this red cart with my damp box on it. It's just like a sealed box with a layer of plaster on the bottom that retains water. And then I'll use like craft foam to layer my slabs in between, just so I can store a bunch of slabs before I start constructing them. I have another plaster bat on the bottom here for like drying out clay or reclaiming it. And then I just have a bunch of plastic that I just throw down there. Okay, and then this side of the studio is sort of like the junk corner, like a junk drawer, but it's an entire corner of the studio. And right now it's a lot of like my market display stuff and just, I don't know what to do with it yet. So I think this is going to be the side of the studio that my studio mate and I store like, again, a lot of this like miscellaneous stuff, market display things. She's going to get some more shelves to keep like greenware and to store things while they're drying. So I think this is going to be the majority of the space that we have to organize together and like decide together what we're going to do with it. But right now it looks like this. And under this table, Millie's got her little doggy bed there. She's 9 in a perfect circle. Millie. Hi, Millie. Also, on this table that I did not give enough attention to are all of my little trinkets from other artists. And more over here from other artists and friends. The only thing that I haven't done yet in this new studio is hang up all of my prints and artwork from other artists. In my last studio, I had them like all over one of the walls above the window. And so I just need to do that here. But as soon as I moved in here, I had to get started on work right away because I have a lot of events coming up. So the first one is actually next weekend on March 29th and 30th, I believe. And it is Renegade down in San Francisco. So I'll probably do a separate video on that. So let me know if you have questions about Renegade, about craft fairs. Yeah. Look, we have sun and a really big cobweb. Anyways, that is all I have for this quick little video. I just wanted to share my new space with you. I'm really excited to be in a larger space and have room to grow a little bit and make more things. And with this new space, I've also changed my work schedule a little bit. So my last studio space was walking distance from me. which was really convenient, but it also meant that I was very like, oh, I'll get to the studio whenever, no rush kind of thing. This new studio space is not super walkable. It's a little bit further away, so I just have been coming here in the morning and like not leaving because it's not really walkable to like anything very easily. So I've just been coming here for like a much stricter work days and work hours, which I think will be a good thing. It took a little bit of getting used to, but I think I'm already kind of getting in the zone and getting into this new groove and new schedule. So I hope it will lead to more consistent posting, consistent work, and just having a little bit more space and time to like experiment with new products. I already have new products in this batch that I'll be making for Renegade, so I'll share those in the next video. But yeah, I'm very excited. It was an unexpected upgrade, but much appreciated. So I've got to get back to work now, but let me know if you have questions about having and working in a pottery studio. Also, if you have questions about Renegade Craft, art markets, anything like that, which I'll do in my next video. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.